Well, hello everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to our Tuesday evening call where we give an introduction to LifeWave and our technology, a little history on the company and our founder and inventor. And we have a special guest this evening, Dr. Nicholas, and he's going to share a little bit about our patches, our product, and then we turn things over to you where you have an opportunity to share your stories and also if you have questions. So if you have questions, write them in the chat. If you have a testimonial, raise your hand. There's a little hand down there on the bottom bar, and you can raise your hand and I will call on you. And so we'll do first come, first serve. And so let's get started. A little bit about this very special company. A few years ago, I got introduced to LifeWave from a good friend when I was researching stem cells for a bad knee. I was bone on bone for many, many years and looking at doing stem cell injections and got that call from the friend that changed my life. And one thing led to another. So I got introduced to LifeWave. The company is now 16 years old, and it started out before that. And David Schmidt, our founder inventor, had developed and invented some technology on a government contract to help the Navy SEALs when they're in their mini subs. They have these individual mini subs, and sometimes they have to stay awake for days on end. And they wanted something where they didn't need to use any kind of stimulants or chemicals or caffeine. And the energy enhancer patch was born. Well, the world changed. 9/11 happened. The government had a different focus, and David was was speaking to someone who said the best way to get a product like that to market is to share it in relationship marketing. We call it network marketing, multi-level marketing. It's person to person, and it is the best way to share any kind of product, no matter what it is. So LifeWave was born in 2004 with one patch, and that patch actually does amazing things. It has a positive and negative polarity, and one day David got a call from the Olympic swim coach. Excuse me for just a second. Sorry about that. A tickle. The Olympic swim coach, Richard Quick out of Stanford, who was the coach for the women's Olympic swim team. And he called David and he said 6 of our 8 swimmers did their personal best. And that was the very first time they used the energy enhancer product. Well, word got out all over the world. Tons of media happened. The company took off like crazy. And David discovered that this patch actually had some other pain relief qualities, tweaked it a little bit. And the first phase of the company is more of the symptom phase, where the first patch was energy enhancer, then came, a pain relief patch called Ice Wave, and then a sleep patch called Silent Night that has been used in hospitals in Europe instead of sleep medications. So that was phase 1. Phase 2, David got into anti-aging. He came out with, he developed several different patches that actually put the brakes on the aging process: Eon, glutathione, and carnosine. Well, David was fascinated in what's it going to take to enhance the human condition and increase the quality of life and transform people's experience of the aging process, and had been studying regenerative science. So phase 3 is what we're going to talk about tonight. The star of the show from LifeWave is called X39. It's our stem cell activation patch. It does many, many more things, but that's one of the most exciting. But actually, there's a lot of exciting things. I had a patch right here. This is what the patch looks like. This little thing that looks like a round Band-Aid, the size of a quarter. We're going to hear about it in a little bit. And this patch came out, it was introduced to the world in January of 2019. And the company had been around almost 15 years by that time. And amazing things happened. They tripled in size with the introduction of that one new product. And we're going to hear about that, why that happened in just a minute. So I want to talk about David for a little bit. Our founder inventor is a genius scientist and inventor, and he's the CEO of the company. The company is in over 75 countries around the world with 14 distribution centers. David loves the science. He has over 100 patents and patent pendings to his name. And he's always wanting to do the next level of research and create whatever's next. So I like how Gregory says some company owners want the bigger car, the bigger boat, the bigger house. David wants to spend more money on research. The company has invested millions and millions of dollars to validate what he discovers in the laboratory using this unique science of light therapy called photobiomodulation. So what I'd love to do is bring on our guest this evening. And this man is hey, there he is. Yay. We haven't seen each other in so long.
Right?
I know. We used to see each other all the time. This is such a treat for me because this man is the man I worked with really, really closely when I got started. We hardly see each other anymore. And I want to give him a proper introduction. We have Dr. Nicholas Tivoli, and Dr. Nicholas has been with the company over 12 years. And we're going to hear his story in just a minute. And he is a chiropractor. He's been in practice over 22 years, had one of the largest, most successful network chiropractic practices in the country. And when he came on board, he had never been in this form of marketing before. He didn't know anything about it other than some things he had heard. And it did dramatically change his life. He has personally patched thousands and thousands of people. And I'm blessed and privileged that I got to work very closely with him and get to learn a lot about the patches from him. And it is my joy and pleasure to introduce Dr. Nicholas.
Thanks, Robin. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. It's great to see you. It's great to see you. So, Dr. Nicholas, you knew nothing about this profession of network marketing. What had you get interested to learn more and get involved in LifeWave?
Well, the product did so many miracle things, and I really feel that's the biggest part of it that drew me into it. To when it delivers real results really fast, and the price was so reasonably inexpensive, and then you find out nobody knows about it. It's almost like it's too good to be true. And this was 12 years ago. So the more people I talked to, the more I found out nobody knew about it. I'm like, wow, this is really the hottest thing since sliced bread. And I'm like, I think I should really pay attention to this, and get more involved. And the more doctors I talked to and practitioners, nobody knew about it. And even today, it's still the same way. So I think there's a real tipping point happening where people are more open to the light therapy, which makes it even more exciting, easier to get more involved in, and not so kind of woo-woo or weird for people. But again, it's all about results. If it didn't get the results it got, I wouldn't be here. And it really delivered the results. So that's what drew me into the business. And I'm still here today full time. So I'm proud to be here.
And I love it, but you're so busy, I hardly get to talk to you.
I know.
Well, so you started to mention the science a little bit, and it used to be kind of referred to as woo-woo. The technology behind these products is called photobiomodulation, which is kind of a mouthful and a new term for many, many people. So could you explain the technology a little bit so people can understand what we're talking about here?
Yeah, so photos light, modulation, biomodulation is the body and how it takes the light and creates a chemical reaction. So photosynthesis is the way I like to describe it for patients to keep it really simple. It's like when you stand out in the sun and the sun hits your skin, or help the sun rays make a plant grow. And so the sunlight makes your skin turn tan, or you make vitamin D. So it's the light creates a chemical reaction within the body, and then the body has very specific healing properties that take place from that. So David figured out how to signal the body with a FM radio frequency. So the patch, nothing goes in the body. It's non-transdermal. So the materials are all natural, organic amino acids, sugar, and water, and it's really a proprietary thing. But it's body heat activated. So the body heat is the actual power source. So I think that's what intrigued me the most, is that it was so simple and yet so high tech, because it's like a wireless communication system to your body. And the body takes in the light and creates a very specific chemical reaction. And they have science to back it up, which is made for the people who need the science. There's over 80 clinical studies, double-blind, placebo-controlled. Some are on PubMed. So the proof is there. As you were saying, David spends a lot of money. He likes to do that. I think it's just part of his thing to, show the naysayers that, don't believe in it, think it's a placebo, because it looks too simple. I mean, you show the patch, it looks like a little sticker basically, but it is really, ahead of its time. It really is. I mean, it's so advanced. And so the consciousness of people, I think, are really starting to catch up to, again, light therapy. So the science is phototherapy, and the scientific photobiomodulation. So, that's it pretty much in a nutshell.
Love it. You broke it down really beautifully. So let's go from the technology to the product a little bit now.
Mhm.
But before we jump into the product, I think it would be helpful because we have people that are brand new to LifeWave and just looking at us for the very first time. And the term stem cells is out there in the media big time. It's out there
Right.
in the world. And I think a lot of people don't really know what stem cells are. So can you explain a little bit about them and why are they so important during the aging process?
Yeah. So, when we're a baby, we have a billion stem cells. And by the time we hit 60, we only have like 10% left. So, what the stem cell is a cell that hasn't turned into a finger cell or an eye cell or a nose cell, or so they're undifferentiated yet. So they're waiting to be activated. And so as we get older, they're slower and there's not as many. So the body is healing slower and recovering from an injury slower. So if we can make them act younger, then they can start to regenerate the body like it's already designed to do. It's just like everything. As we age, everything slows down and we don't have as much. So the stem cell is controversial, and then also it's expensive in terms of like therapeutically. So there's different types of stem cells, but what's really nice about this is it makes your body's own stem cells do what they're already designed to do. So we're not injecting, we're not taking different types that are controversial, whether there be the fat stem cell or the bone marrow stem cell or the umbilical cord stem cell. So there's different actual types, but your body already has them already floating all over your body. There's just less and less. Like I said, by the time you're 60, there's only so many left. And so we're able to make them respond much, much faster by a very specific light therapy.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So, I'm hearing myself twice. I hope you guys can hear me twice. I'll put up with it. Okay, so let's jump into the star of the show. We have this product that came out and introduced to the world. David, our founder inventor, did a world tour in January of 2019, traveled Europe and Asia, and ended up where I first met you, March 31st of 2019 in Los Angeles, where he introduced and launched to the world the X39. So could you explain what this product is, what it does, what makes it the star of the show?
Yeah, so he's been working on this thing for like 10 years. And so, he started researching stem cell therapy and then somehow crossed paths with GHK and GHK copper Cu, which is this copper peptide that already we have in our body. And has been studied for 40 years, but no one's been able to figure out how to get it into the body, other than using like topical creams for skin rejuvenation, for to make your skin tighten, to make your skin heal and look really nice. So David is the genius that he is. He figured, okay, what's the frequency of it? And so the patch emits a very specific FM radio frequency wavelength that activates the stem cell, but it elevates the peptide. So again, as we age, we have less of it. And so we're not putting more in, we're just using a form of light to increase it. And so we have studies to show in the blood saliva test, or actually the blood, that we can show there's an increased level in the GHK copper. And there's also 2 new studies that are coming out that are showing even more about the elevation of the peptide. So when we have that peptide elevated, it has an indirect effect to the stem cells that we have. And so it makes your stem cells start acting and responding like you're 20, for instance. And so you start having healings like, when you were younger, you would fall, get up and run. And when you're 60, you fall, you don't get up and run, you fall and you kind of lay there for a while and you feel the pain and the agony. And if anything's broken, whatnot. And so we're now seeing that the body's is starting to heal in real time. So the stem cells turn on by an inflammatory response. So the more inflammation, and then there's less stem cells, there's slower healing and recovery. So now we're having faster stem cell activity. So it's able to start addressing all these inflammatory responses. So no matter where you put the patch, it's active throughout your whole body. So for some people, for symptom relief, they're noticing more relief when they put it over the area that may be the painful spot or the highly inflamed spot. So that's the studies on the or the GHK copper peptide and the stem cell.
Okay. You just said GHK copper peptide. What is it and why is it so important?
Well, okay, so it's a peptide, like I said, we already have in our body. It's just as everything else, when we get older, we have less of it, less of everything. And so the elevation of it is crucial because it now makes all of our stem cells younger and healthier. And so again, it starts to do many other things, but I like to refer people to the I like the Wikipedia version and now the PubMed version. If you just put in GHK-CU, Google search it, you'll get a PubMed version study, and then also on the Wikipedia, and it gives all the other health benefits. And there's many with hair restoration, skin tightening, organs working more functioning. I mean, it's truly showing age reversing effects. So that's the biggest part of it for our company, meaning like for a wellness company, we're really tapping into regeneration now. And that's really the biggest thing that makes this patch more unique and different than any of the other patches, because we're not slowing the aging process down. We're actually reversing it now. And one of the studies they showed in the very beginning were showing that when the elevation of this peptide, there's a wearing the patch for only 6 weeks, there's a 2-month reversal in the internal cardiovascular system. So, and that means, anything to do with the cardiovascular system, it's getting younger. So that's going to see huge health benefits. And we can, prove that with, the studies that they have. And there's many more coming out.
So this is very exciting. So if you're recommending people do their own research on this copper peptide because it does many things. You mentioned activating stem cells, creating more stem cells, accelerating wound healing, increasing collagen. I mean, I tell people I'm 95 or 96. So my skin has definitely improved, and it's been very fun. I got it because I had a knee pain, and the knee pain went away in a week from putting the patch on the back of my neck. And then all these other fun things happened. And just minutes ago, literally minutes ago, I got a cramp in my leg. And I just slapped a patch right on top of my leg and gone. So I mean, it is kind of amazing. So how about, oops, just got another one in the back of my other leg. I'll move the patch. This is real time, everybody.
All right.
So what I'd love to hear now is, how can people get the maximum benefit of using this product? What are some of the guidelines you give to people so that they can really maximize it? How long do they use it? What else do they need to do?
Yeah. So, I mean, when it first came out, David gave many kind of like examples, like if you wanted to do some supplementing or dietary changes. But I mean, honestly, the studies show without doing anything, just wearing it for 12 hours on, 12 hours off, daytime or nighttime. It's kind of like a personal preference, basically. You'll start to see a really significant change. But you like to tell people you really want to give it a fair experience, not just one time. So maybe doing it for at least 90 days to really see what kind of changes you'll get. And if you're consistent, I mean, people are seeing changes that are like way more than they expect with energy, sleep, eyesight improvement, healing, recovery, mental clarity. That's a big one. And but if you drink water, water's the big thing. I mean, we're made of hydration, water. 70% of our body's water, and so many people don't drink much water, and they don't drink anything really. So I think that's one of the most crucial things. And we don't have to get into different types of water. Just drink water. Like divide your body in half and the weight, and that's the amount of ounces per day you should be drinking water wise, because the water works like it's conductivity. So your cells look at them like a raisin or a grape. When they're a grape, they're full of water. When they're a raisin, they're real tiny and not shriveled up, so that they're not touching each other so much. So I've really seen more than anything else, just drinking water gets maximum benefit without getting into dietary changes or nutrition. That'd be the simplest thing I would start with.
Okay, that's so wonderful because it is so simple. One
Mhm.
of our distributors says this is easy, peel and stick. You
That's
know,
it.
and nothing's going in the body. Are there any contraindications or any warnings for people about this product?
Yeah, that's a good question. So normally, I mean, it's over the counter, but they usually recommend you always talk to your physician if you're, possibly having a disease process. But there are no contraindications, unless you're doing like say chemotherapy or possibly an organ transplant because you're doing like an immunosuppressant medication, and this has a positive effect to the immune system. So those are one of the two things, or one or two of the things that they usually recommend. You ask them about and see if they say it's okay or not. But they haven't done studies to say, hey, it's totally safe to do. Um, but those are the two things that usually David Schmidt would say, I probably wouldn't do it.
Okay, so anyone who's on any immunosuppressant medications like chemo, like immune suppressing medication for a transplant or
Yeah.
prednisone, temporarily shouldn't be doing it. There's no real contraindications. Those are just,
Right.
things that keep the body in a suppressed immune state by design. So, can people have any negative or challenging um, experiences with the patches?
Well, okay, so you can have a detox reaction or a retracing experience. And I mean, a few people, I mean, you've had it yourself. So it's like
You remember?
oh yeah, your body goes through like a cellular memory process, and it's really bizarre. So it's like old cells turning into new cells. It's like the everything's resetting from old to new, and it's almost like growing pains. And how can you not put anything in your body and have a symptom reaction? And that's really all it is. So it's like as you say, a sloughing off of old cells to new cells, and there's like this metamorphosis of the caterpillar to the butterfly change. And and it's not common, but once in a while people may re-experience like an old injury pain symptom. It's like a phantom pain, and it usually goes away. And I tell people, if you can work through it, it goes away. It always does. If it's too symptomatic for you, pull the patch off, and your body usually goes back to where it was prior to putting it on within like 10 to 15 minutes. Drink plenty of water, maybe wear it less. Maybe instead of 12 hours on, 12 off, maybe an hour, then take it off and wear it the next day for 2 hours so you can build up. And usually it just goes away. But if it's for whatever reason, which isn't common, you just say, work through it, and it always goes away. So the
Very
symptom, and it's nothing major.
Something. Well, it's good to know, and I quote you all the time. You know that. Feeling is healing,
That's
and
it.
so if we let people know that if you're feeling something, it's working. You know,
Yeah.
and if it's too much, you just take it off. It's not like when you're ingesting something, you can't take it out, but you
Right.
can really. This was the spot. Remember, I had
Hmm.
I had an injury here, and it came back in an acute pain, and I went, "What's this?" And you explained to me what you just shared, and I took it off. It's like, wow. And then it just gradually got to the place. It could be hours, could be days, could be weeks, but everyone's different. But the longer we keep it on, the quicker that true regeneration will happen. Well, this is wonderful. And I know we have, at least I see a testimonial here, and I have several questions for you. So anything else you want to say before we bring on our guests?
No, I mean, it's just been a fascinating 12 years, and I'm looking forward to the next. And I'm going strong and loving every minute of it. So I'm very grateful to be here and honored. And thanks for having me on.
Yeah, well, it's been literally a gift to get to work with you and learn from you, and um, and I look forward to more. We got a
There you
great future. So Kim is new, and when we share testimonials, just a reminder, we only talk symptoms, and let's be very brief so we can give lots of other people an opportunity. So let's bring on Kim, and then we'll bring a few other people on for questions. So Kim, you should be able to talk.
Hopefully you can hear me.
We can hear you loud
Oh,
and
good.
clear.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm Sunshower Rose's sister.
Oh, wonderful. We love Sunflower Rose.
I don't know if she's on tonight. Um, she prompted me to tell you what happened. About a month ago, I had a tooth extraction and the tooth broke off. So
Ouch.
I had to wait an entire month to see an oral surgeon and dealt with a lot of pain and started using the ice wave overnight, and I woke up in a lot less pain than normal. So that
Beautiful.
was a big blessing to me. And
Thank
then I became a distributor yesterday.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Welcome. I started out as a customer myself and had such great results, realized that I felt this sense of responsibility to let people know this existed. So I had to share. Well, thank
Right.
you so much, Kim, and Happy New Year to you.
You too.
A healthy and happy one. Wonderful.
Thanks.
So let's see if Paul is available to share. Okay, Paul, can you hear us? Can we hear you? Okay, I'm going to go to your phone is muted, Paul, so you have to unmute. Okay. Well, we'll come back to you, Paul, and see if Kay is available. Kay Heiser. Okay, and you are muted also, so unmute your line, Kay. People are all muted. Okay, you need to unmute your own line because I've made you available to talk. So let's see. We'll go to Ann Heiser.
Can you hear me, Robin?
Yes, we can, my dear.
Wonderful. Well, I also had that jaw pain thing from going to a dentist, and literally within 15 minutes, I stuck those ice wave patches right on my jaw and boom, gone. So I, that's just one of the many that I can cite, but I am more than excited about being in this group.
That's wonderful. Thank you, my dear. Appreciate that. Okay, I think Paul's available now.
Hi, this is Paul.
Hi, Paul.
And I'm in Florida. And my question, I'm using the patches now, X39, for a year. They're incredible and I'm helping a lot of people in my community. My question was on the ice wave. If you use that and you get results from it, let's say, is it something that you have to continue to use, or does it eventually fix the issue?
Okay, Dr. Nicholas.
Yes, that's a great question. So yeah, ice wave does do healing. It does do, so what it does is it actually lowers temperature about 4 degrees in 5 minutes. So it's increasing circulation. So technically your body's healing itself. It's just helping assist it with light. So if you're not having any pain, you don't really need to use the ice wave because those are really specifically just for pain. So the X39 is doing the regeneration, and that's what's doing the real cellular healing repair. And that's the one that, it was never designed for pain relief. Some people are getting really good pain relief with it, but it's not for that specifically. It's really just to regenerate and heal. So that's the one that you would want to continue wearing for the long-term healing benefits. But ice wave, if you're not in pain anymore, Paul, you don't really need to use it. I would go to the X39 then.
Great, thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay. Angel Cowgirl says, Dr. Nicholas, would the X39 ever elevate cells that a person might not want activated or reactivate those that have brought a person out of homeostasis into the past? Omitting disease names here.
Right. Gotcha.
Thank you for your insights.
So David addressed this when it first came out because obviously it's a really big concern for everybody. So it's activating your stem cells, but it's only affecting the healthy stem cells because of the way that there's only a positive effect to having the elevation of this peptide. And that's one of the big things I stress about going to the Wikipedia and then the PubMed application study, it actually really gets into that and addresses that. So I don't have to get in explaining like whatever process or disease that is. It does explain it there. So there's only a safe process with elevating it, not a negative.
And that's really, really valuable to know, because I know people have a lot of concern that, oh my God, it's going to grow those other cells, but
Right.
the body will never hurt itself.
Mm-mm.
No, and there's nothing going in from the outside that could hurt it.
Correct.
The body's designed to get back to homeostasis. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, thank you for that. That's a very good question. So Kathy would like to ask, I would appreciate input on using the patches for sinus pain and congestion, tiredness, possible infection. I've been using X39 on each cheek and glutathione just under the Adam's apple. Any other suggestions to help with this painful situation?
I mean, I've used Eon over the sinuses. I've tried Ice Wave. I've tried Energy, and they all work. So it's one of those things that you kind of have to experiment with it. There are some protocols floating around, but for the most part, I mean, I've really seen success with the Ice Wave and or Energy. But again, you're doing everything right. I don't think it's wrong. It's just everybody's different in terms of like what kind of responses they get to it. So if you're okay with it and open to trying different patches, experiment with them. That's the best way to see what works for you in the moment. And I mean, you can literally put them on and hold them for 5 minutes, and you'll know if it's working or not. If it isn't, take it off, try a different one. And that's kind of how I like to test the body and challenge the body to see, what does it need right now, and you'll feel it. If you get a positive response, symptom relieving, the body's saying, yes, I need this right now.
Well, here's another Dr. Nicholas quote I share all the time. Trust your instincts.
There you go.
The beauty is you can't hurt yourself. And if your instincts say, try to put it here, try to use this patch, try it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need to take the adhesive backing off. So that's wonderful. So BJ is asking, as a doctor of chiropractic, why did you decide to carry this line in your practice? And what was the feedback from your patients? If a chiropractor does not want to build the MLM side of the business, can they still use the product and recommend it to their patients?
Yeah. So, well, one, it worked. It worked amazing. And it was so exciting to see the big changes. So it was like, for me, it was kind of like the shot in the arm that made me love practicing again when I first started with it. And then I didn't want to get involved with the business. I didn't even know it was the business until our patients were telling us, hey, I want to share this with so and so, and they don't live here. So where do I sign up? And I'm like, what do you mean sign up? And that's, kind of the funny story about us. But it works so well, So I felt like you said, Robin, you just feel morally obligated to share it. So if that's the best way to share it and, go further than just my small practice, that's what I did. And I saw the value of helping so many more people than just in my little practice. Cause to me, I felt like that was a disservice, but I had to find my way there. So a lot of docs feel that at first because they think, oh my gosh, it's going to hurt my practice, or MLM's bad, blah, blah, blah. And, you just got to get comfortable with the product, get comfortable with the way there was so much negativity around the business, but they don't have to. So yeah, I know doctors that just do strictly retail, and they do great, and that's fine. And it doesn't take away from your practice at all. So I think that's one of the things that if you share with other docs, make sure you tell them it doesn't hurt your practice. It enhances your clinical outcomes. It enhances the quality of your life. It makes everything you do work better, and patients like it, and doctors are cool with that as long as they don't see it, hurt their practice. And that was the big fear. So yeah, you don't have to do the business. I personally didn't want to do it, but it was almost so easy, and then I kept doing it, and I was just like, wow, this is just, why didn't I do this sooner? And I was thinking, well, everything happens for a reason, but that's why I'm here today sharing my story. So yeah, it's a cool business model, but it's not for everybody. It's not that it's easy. It's just better. Let's put it that way.
I love it. That's a great quote. And another quote that you just shared that I use all the time, because we have literally, you've brought on hundreds and hundreds of practitioners. We have thousands of in the business, and it enhances the clinical outcome. which is, such a gift as a practitioner to be able to help your client or patient feel better quicker. So will you take a few more minutes for 2 more questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, and thank you, Ravel, for that beautiful comment. If someone has had an organ transplant and has joint pain, are there any patches that can be used?
Sure. So ice wave is so totally safe. Energy, sleep, nothing that's really gonna really increase anything that's gonna antioxidant, really increase supporting immune response. So ice wave is totally safe. Energy is safe. Sleep are safe. So for the joint pain, use ice wave.
Okay. Is Eon safe?
Eon is an anti-inflammatory, anti-stress. It's not really having a direct effect, but it's still one of the YAGE anti-aging patches. So I've heard David really kind of frown on it. I think it still has a positive effect to the immune response. So I think that's probably why. I
Okay.
just don't know the strict correlation, basically, the exact correlation. But yeah, he's always said just use energy, use ice wave, use silent night.
Great. Well, that's really helpful to know for everybody. So, uh, what would you recommend for dealing with head tension?
Okay, so ice waves, cool. Sometimes it's maybe a little too intense. So we've had people use energy, and energy is kind of like, as you said earlier, it's kind of a very mild ice wave and not too intense. So people put the energy patches on their head, white on the right, tan on the left, kind of above the ear. Even the head protocol where you put a white on the front of the head and the tan on the back. That's kind of the head protocol. Then you put a neon and a glutathione on top, and those work really well. And all it does is just kind of takes the brainwave activity and kind of synchronizes it. It kind of calms things down, and we've seen people kind of get in a really pleasant, calm state, kind of like a meditative state. And we've seen some really significant responses with using that as well. So, it's kind of like a good, better, best protocol. But I mean, the X39 is doing amazing stuff too. You can put it on the forehead or where you feel the tension. Try that first because it's so easy before you start getting into, multiple patches and then go from there.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, and a lot of people like to put it in their hat.
Yeah.
We have our smart hats available, right?
It's a good one, the smart hat, right?
Yes, there's our smart hat. So Gregory and I keep our smart hats close to our desk because you never know when you're going to need that. And I know that you had a situation where it was very handy that it was close by.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yes, we'll get into that maybe another time, okay? And the last question for this evening is from Mary Beth, and she says, what is the best patch for scarring in the lungs?
Well, I mean, X39 now has just been doing dramatic stuff on the lungs. And again, under Wikipedia, it gets into the lung issues and it talks about how it affects the lungs, which is really, really exciting. But pre X39, carnosine, one of the benefits is it breaks up scar tissue. So the two together might be a nice combo. But yeah, I would go with either one or both. You can put them right over the lungs, even.
Okay, great. Wonderful. So finally, Stacy wants to share that she goes to the chiropractor, but due to using the patches, she said her adjustments are lasting longer.
That's true.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you probably experienced that too. And
Mhm.
Coach Clarissa wants to say hello to you and I. So hello, Coach Clarissa.
Hi, folks.
Okay, so we've come to the end of our time, and I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening, or whether you're listening here or on the Facebook Live or on a recording on our YouTube channel, Live Younger YouTube. If you're a guest this evening, please get back to the person that invited you and know that we have a wonderful customer program, retail or wholesale, and we also have a great program if you're someone who likes to share. There's a very lucrative compensation. Thank you, Dr. Nicholas. It's always a joy and a pleasure. Happy New Year to everyone. May it be the best ever. Bye for now. Thanks, everyone.